last week, Matt Reisinger put out a YouTube video on leak sensors. If you're not familiar with Matt Reisinger, he is in construction. He is educating people like you and me, leveling up what we know about construction and building science. No one is sponsoring this video or this channel. Matt just threw me a softball and I'm swinging. First off, I think that Matt did an amazing job at a first take, first impression on leak sensors. I have a few thoughts. And Matt's video also gave me an idea of what happens if you want to create a system and you have less than $100 to spend. Number one, what do you want your sensor to do? A sensor in and of itself is nice, but what I want is an integrated system. When a leak is detected, the water is shut off to the house. Here's a sample of previous testing I shared in another video. This demonstrates the response time of Phyn sensors paired with Phyn Plus in various configurations. One of the things that Matt touched on but didn't really go into is that there are systems where they have leak sensors along with a whole house water monitor. When a leak is detected, the water monitor shuts off everything inside of the house. Odds that no one is home or everyone is asleep is pretty high when something goes wrong. It's called Murphy's Law. There are several systems like this. Flo by Moen, Phyn, Grohe, Yolink. Now, not all of these systems are equal and they have very different features. There are others like FloodStop and they have sensors that are a pad, and there are individual appliance shutoffs. Those are cheaper, less invasive. You don't have to cut off the water and have this device placed in line. But you can see there, your entire house is not protected in the same way. The last point here is you need to verify how many sensors each shutoff supports. Phyn, for instance, has a limit of 9 sensors. Flo by Moen, the last time I talked to someone at Moen last year, the limit was 88. More on this in a minute. I want to bring awareness that there are many options on the market and you have to decide what is most important to you. For me, I don't care how loud a sensor is. Of course, I want there to be an alarm, but loudness is not the primary feature for me. Would it be nice if Phyn was louder? Absolutely. But I want that ability for a leak to be detected by a sensor and for the water to get shut off to the house without me having to do anything. Now, you might have a case where you want a sensor, but you don't actually want the water to get shut off to the house. And that's something that you can change in your settings when you're setting up the device or later on if you change your mind. The other thing I wanted to address was the expandability of some of these leak detectors. For instance, Phyn is $40. And I appreciate that it's not $50 like Flo by Moen's or the Resideo Wi-Fi leak detector, because it doesn't come with that additional sensor node that is an additional $10. Sold separately. I like a la carte. I don't want to pay for something I'm not going to use. I'd rather pay for exactly what is necessary to protect my home. Now, that's what I wanted to say because my Phyn sensors were $40, just like Matt's were last year. If you've noticed, prices have gone up. Phyn's detector is now $50 without a sensing node. Flo by Moen is still $50, but the Resideo Wi-Fi leak detector is now $80. With the rising costs in mind, that $10 remote disc or the cable, that's a lot cheaper than buying 2 sensors. And on top of that, with that sensor cable, you're covering a lot more space. It really starts becoming more economical. And when you go down that road, you're connecting and you're protecting 2 sinks or a sink and then the adjacent dishwasher. You're not using as many sensors, and that is not counting against your sensor limit. Another important note is not all sensors and extension nodes are equal. Flo by Moen, for instance, has a base node, and it comes with that sensing disk. The base node works just fine as a node. It senses everything. But the minute that you plug into that extension disk, it's inactivated. With Phyn, both the sensor and the node are both active and waiting for a leak. In Matt's video, he introduced the Hydrotech Water Watcher. And that was a pretty innovative idea where the sensor itself actually could do something about the problem by cutting off the electricity to the dishwasher, washing machine, so you don't have to have an additional water shut off. Obviously, the whole house is not protected. My disappointment in that one was that it didn't have an audible alarm. In looking at the Amazon website for that one, I noticed the Ortis leak detector alarm, which has an alarm if something is shut off. That's much better than trying to figure out if your laundry is done, if it's still sopping wet, or not really knowing until the next time you try running your laundry. The other thing too is the Ortis was $25 cheaper. The one Phyn specific point I'd like to address is the Wi-Fi setup. Personally, I didn't have any issues setting up my Phyn sensors. We even tested the sensors on site at the International Builder Show in Orlando, Florida last year via a hotspot. It was my chance at testing the humidity sensor on these devices. Humid Florida against dry Arizona. If you went to the show, you know how hard it was to even get a phone call, much less any internet. Matt's video got me thinking outside of the box. If you want a solution and you want to spend less than $100, where is it? You can buy a V3 WiseCam along with 5 of the $11 Residio leak sensors. Then, when you go out of town or any other situation, you can strategically place your Residio water leak sensors around your house, bathrooms, kitchen, laundry, and centrally locate your WiseCam with sound notifications on. That way, when a leak is detected, and we know that those Residio alarms are loud, you will get a sound notification on your phone, and then you will call your neighbor, who you've already informed how to turn off the water to the house. I challenge you to carefully consider how you want to spend your money and what is the end goal. Do you intend to be home and rely on a physical alarm? Or would you rather have an automated system that not only detects the leak, but does something about it, and also possibly can prevent it? I'm not going into that in this video. That's something that these water shutoff systems can do with automatic plumbing tests. While I know a lot about the industry, I've only used Phyn sensors because I have Phyn Plus and Flo by Moen sensors came out after I had Flo. But here's the deal. I don't care if you're interested in Phyn, the sensors, any of that. What I want from you to pull from this is to be knowledgeable about what's out there and what you need to protect your home. In this video, I went into mad details about the Phyn sensor. But what I want you to really take away from that video is education, so that you can compare this sensor to another sensor that you're interested in. If there's any other videos that you find that are super helpful in depth, please add them in the comments for other people looking for this information. And by all means, Matt's video right here is definitely worth checking out in its entirety.